Europe, Canada, and the US are all imposing strict and steep tariffs on Chinese-made cars, but is that slowing EV adoption? I think it just might be, but what is the solution and what is it like where you're at? To find out a little bit more about this, I've got our good friend Will from Tesla Jigsaw here. We're going to have a whole chat about it. I'm Brian. Welcome to Futuraza. So, Will, it is so good to have you back on the show. Your channel is growing nicely. I am so proud to see it.
Yes, thank you very much for your assistance, Brian. You've been a key element to my success, I'd say.
Well, I enjoy your show and I enjoy your presence on X, and I think it is well-deserved. You produce high-quality content that I find interesting.
Thank you.
And you got to meet Darren Young recently, too. That's fun.
I did. It was so nice. Just, picked him up in London and we just had the day together, wandering around, talking about Tesla all day long. We had a lovely time. I got a little chance to interview him and talk all about what's going on in China. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, and I met Darren at the X Takeover in Austria. I've had him on the show a couple times. He's a busy guy. He travels, I would argue, more than I do. He travels a lot. So let's get into it here. I don't know if you guys have heard. Don't expect Britain to copy EU and American tariffs on Chinese cars. Big ol' ad block warning. If you guys are using ad block, please continue doing so. There is no benefit to not doing it. So what's going on here? While its allies slapped steep tariffs on Chinese state-subsidized vehicles, Britain is sitting tight. It's mulling an alternative strategy, but hey, difficult choices. Tell me about this. What's the objective? What do you want to see?
Well, I'd like to see certainly, I wouldn't like to see the approach that the Biden administration has taken by slapping 100% tariffs on Chinese EVs, because I want to see cheaper, more affordable electric cars personally. There's a lot to discuss here, isn't there? But Britain produces just a handful of cars. I mean, Vauxhall are doing very well with their electric offerings. The Nissan Leaf is obviously built here, but it's not as if we've got a plethora of cheap, affordable electric cars on offer. I mean, they're getting better all the time. They are becoming cheaper, but it's the Chinese that they're getting cheaper, the MGs and so forth, and BYDs that are sort of slowly entering the country. I don't want to see these tariffs. I'm quite pleased that UK is making a different decision to the EU and America.
And it's not like those lack of tariffs mean that BYD and Li and Xiaopeng are just automatically cheaper cars. They're not. The MG is competitively priced. The Funky Cat, I think they changed the name of that one to something else.
It's the Aura 03. That's it in England.
Wow.
Yeah, a bit boring.
What a way to water it down.
Yeah.
But hey, they've done the market research. I think Funky Cat's way cooler. The 28% we already had was enough to keep them out. I don't know what 128% is going to do, except just guarantee that it's never coming. I mean, you could, okay, great, I suppose. Then we've got this little guy here. EV sales hit speed bump as drivers unplug from the electric dream. Cost of hardware, as well as range and a lack of charging infrastructure to blame. Do you think that this is true? I mean, this is the register, so they're clearly very high quality, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't really agree at all that the electric dream is dying. It seems to be nothing but taking off. If you just travel around the roads of Britain, it's very difficult to not go past an electric car with about every 1 in 10 cars, for let's say. It's the next line I particularly thought was interesting in the article. Registrations of battery electric vehicles continue to fall in the European continent as sales growth slows in the US and British manufacturing of the wheeled machines. Declined sharply. What a strange place to throw in that little combination of words, I thought. But
well, it makes you a little suspicious, but then you find the next article which says strong month, EVs reach record 23% market share in August.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, which is it, Will?
Well, it has. I can confirm it's definitely just hit 23% of EV market share in August. So that's fantastic. We're getting above the 1 in 5 brand new electric vehicles and battery electric ones as well. This is not including hybrids. So good news.
Well, there is a target to phase in clean vehicles, and 23% exceeds the 22% target. So they are actually this just barely ahead, which is great. Ahead is ahead. It's a victory. I'll take it. So that's, I don't know. I mean, that's a victory, right?
Well, yes. It's. I think it got to 32% last December, though. 32%.
How is the charging situation? Because I know, having traveled through the English countryside, I've seen that detached homes are quite uncommon, but multifamily homes, you can still have a garage, you can still have access to an outlet. What's going on there?
Yeah, well, about 75% of the homes in the UK do have access to either a parking space or a driveway. So, no problems in theory to be able to get a charger put there. And then that leaves the 25% that don't, that just have, that have on-street parking. Now, there are many solutions to get chargers fitted into your street in London, but also, of those 25% of homes that don't have parking, you have about 16% of families in the UK that don't even own a car. So it's it's a bit swings and roundabouts as to how many chargers are needed for the amount of cars, because at the moment we've got forecourts opening all the time. Like just done a wonderful video that I'm releasing soon on the new GridServe EV charging hub that was opened a few months ago, and there's quite a few of those being built out. They're more like your typical fuel stations, but you sort of drive in, you've got lots of amenities. They're really exciting, and they're coming up everywhere. And I think the last count was something like 69,000 chargers we've got in the UK. And we're relatively small, aren't we? It's not that big compared to some other countries. So we've got a huge amount of chargers. And most people, as we already know, charge their cars from home on a cheaper overnight tariff if they do have a driveway. So it's just having all these different charging points available to us, either public chargers or just slow chargers at car parks or at work or at homes. We sort of know this anyway, don't we? But my thoughts are, every time I see charging locations in my own town, a little Market Harbour in the middle of Leicestershire, the chargers are empty all the time. No one ever uses them. And, my theory is they're probably just charging at home, or they just don't need to when they go out, out into town. So I'm wondering whether there's a bit too many chargers at the moment in the wrong places. I don't know. That's one.
In the wrong places. That's the thing, is I've seen places where there's a million chargers lumped on top of each other, and not as many in some places where you might want them. Also, England is not that giant. It's not like you can drive an infinite distance that you would need to put in a cajillion chargers to cover it. Are the chargers standardized? I mean, can a Tesla charge at a non-Tesla station and vice versa?
Yeah, I think in most cases it can. Yeah, I say that there's chargers absolutely everywhere, so it's tricky not to find them. The only trouble I have ever had is when I did that trip to Scotland with a couple of my friends in Teslas, and the charging infrastructure up there had seemed to have been left to rot. That was a bit unfortunate. It wasn't brilliant, but I have to speak from what I know in England. There's plenty of chargers everywhere, and certainly in London. I mean, you can't go around a corner and not see some chargers sat there. It's I was only there last Sunday, and I was looking out for them. There was lots.
Now, interestingly, and this is just as of this morning, but a couple days ago, because this was recorded a couple days ago, Tesla has announced 0% interest rates on Model Y in Sweden and France. That's got to be a good thing.
Yeah, certainly. Well, it joins the UK. We've had 0% for a little while on Tesla. So, yeah.
A question I would have for you: what EVs do you see on the road most? I'm assuming Tesla's Model 3 and Y are the most common. What else is common on the road that you see? A Leaf, probably.
Yeah, just a typical Nissan Leaf. We get it's still a surprise to see a BYD. I'll be honest, there's not a great deal, but this is just my little section in the middle of England, though, isn't it? The MG4 is pretty popular. See quite a lot of those. What else do we see? Oh, look at the Ioniq 5.
Oh,
I see quite a lot of those. Kia.
Have you seen any Mach-E's?
One or two. I test drove one a while ago. Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah, I've seen one in use as a taxi in Ireland. I thought I was like, okay, sure.
Interesting.
Our last big story before we get to the very surprising news of the week, Mercedes doubles down on China with a $2 billion investment to compete with local EV startups. This is a partnership with one of the big government ones. I want to say GAIC maybe. GAIC will have a 10% stake in it. And this will allow them to build Mercedes EVs domestically, leaning on the good news of the supply chain, the strength of it there, and get electric stuff going. And part of it will be commercial vehicles, and part of it will be actual cars. I don't really have anything to say about that. I don't know if you do, but I just thought that was interesting and worth sharing.
Well, as usual, if it looks anything like the render at the top of this article, yes, please. But we can't particularly trust Mercedes of coming out with anything that looks anything like their vaporware, can we? Because, I mean, look at that. That's so cool. If they could just make it would be beautiful. But we know they won't.
They won't.
But so is this Mercedes' only option then, really? Is it to build cars in China?
I'm guessing so. It seems to be the case because a lot of foreign brands are really struggling in China. For the longest time, China didn't have a serious domestic market for quality automobiles, and those days are gone. Now, the neat thing is, and I should mention to the audience, I've gotten to meet Will from Tesla Jigsaw in England. And if you guys would like to meet him, you can go to England or hear me out. Come to Vegas in October, where Will and I will be judging a light show.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
It's very cool.
What?
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
I don't know if you saw my reply to your comment. You said, oh, it's probably just like like a little beach town.
Like a seaside arcade that we have in the UK.
Yeah.
Probably 2-piece slot machines, a little dance machine in the corner. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't be much
and I
different,
made
can
a joke that it's like Hermer Bay or something like that. But
I did see your joke, but I didn't understand it, so I haven't responded.
Oh, yeah. I just went to Google and searched, what's the saddest English beach town? And that's what came up.
I didn't even know it.
Yeah, that's how sad it is. So I figured it's worth a shot. Yeah, that's what happens when you make jokes outside your wheelhouse. Guys, it's going to be October 26th. Is that right?
Yeah, that's
October 26th in Las Vegas, Nevada.
So apparently this is open for any Tesla owner. If you want to get together and make your own Tesla light show and join us, then me and you and a few others are going to be the chief judges. So we'll analyze your light show, make sure it's in time, beautifully done and stuff, choice of music. It should be a lot of fun. And then there's a massive main.
Well, I mean,
sorry.
I thought, is that what's going on? I thought it was just the big one. So people get to make their own and we judge them.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's insane. I love it.
Yeah.
That's going to be wild. And,
what's going to be wild for me is just meeting people from around the world. It's so strange. It's a part of the Tesla Jigsaw I didn't realize that I was going to get myself into by sort of getting out there on YouTube and just making my silly little funny videos or whatever. I didn't realize I was going to be around the world and meeting real people out of my little comfort zone.
Yeah.
So I can't wait.
Matt Wallace will be there. Tesla AI girl will be there. I know a lot of folks from the Michigan Club, Kelly and Bert for sure will be there. Ken and his mother, the Tesla plaid grandma will be there. She's a whole lot of fun. And others as well. If you're going to be there, let us know in them comments below. And normally, a lot of these things I drive to because I get free miles with my supercharger, free supercharger miles with my referrals. But this is too far. I'm not driving for this one. I am flying on my frequent flyer miles. Will has not yet gotten a Tesla referral. So if you're considering it, we can only get 10 a year, and it's per calendar year. And we're running out of calendar. So if somebody loves Will more than me, and I know that's most people, then you can go over to his account, which will be linked in the description below, of course. And I'm sure somewhere there he has it listed, and you could I guess, use that.
Yeah. Well, let me further the sob story. I did actually have one referral who went on to pick up their car and complete it, but Tesla deleted the referral scheme, so I got nothing. So my referral disappeared. I was so excited thinking I was going to be able to get some free supercharger miles or something, but no.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate. The program is very weirdly done. I've got a video or two I've made about how it's just terrible. And I mean, it's wonderful. We love it, but it's not accomplishing the goals they want it to accomplish. Guys, like and subscribe, leave some comments. What do we miss? What do we misunderstand? Stay tuned and juicy, and I cannot wait to hear from you, clever robots in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Ooh.